My people, welcome back to the Open Play podcast. I'm your host today, Ikena, aka We United IK, joined by my co-host Daye, aka Statman Daye. Daye, how you feeling today, man?
I'm good, man. I'm excited. It's been a good weekend of football, and yeah,
So,
I'm looking forward
I
to this
mean, not for
topic. So,
everybody, but
oh no, certainly not. Certainly not. Certainly not.
I mean, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's good reason to be excited because we have an action-packed episode for you guys today. Because today we're going to be trying to help Brazil fix their attack. We're going to help them with the players that are supposed to make that play, help them build a starting 11, and just help them solve their problems, man. Because these guys have been going through too many problems in the past few years for the amount of talent that they have in that team. But I just want to ask you real quick, man. Like, what do you think the problem is with Brazil's attack the past few years? Because there's quality there, but it's just not working.
I don't know. It's a weird one. I actually do have like a bit of a pushback. I don't think that attack is that bad. I think it's fine. I think like so for example, like I was looking at like some of the stats. We don't have like nearly the advanced numbers that we do um on international football the way we do club football. So
Mm,
some of these are like just a bit more basic. But just like isolating for like the CONMEBOL, which is the World Cup qualifier for South American
mm,
nations. Brazil obviously finished, I believe, it was fifth in their group. This is still good enough to qualify for the World Cup, of course. But I think there's a couple of things at play here. So of course, when Brazil played in that group, they were third in most shots, second in most big chances, and first in box touches.
mm,
So like I do still think like functionally this is an attack that does still like work. Like it's probably the most talented like front line just in terms of like the depth top to bottom across the entire continent. I would even argue across all of America.
mm,
So that includes North America. Um it's not saying a lot. This is the nation that has won the most FIFA World Cups of any team. So of course it's a very stacked, very traditionally loaded team.
yeah,
Um I do think that there are some like actual real issues with the attack, but I don't think some of it is like nested to the other team onto the team itself. I think that there's a few things I've looked at. And I think that the real issues. For one, I think that the quality of South American football is just better. Ecuador and Colombia in particular have become like Colombia have always been like a since like 2014 at least when like James Rodriguez was like their best player. They've always been a team that you don't want to play, but I think that the best teams are still able to get by.
yeah,
Now I do think they're like a real like content, like they have like a real squad. For example, like this is a team that has like Moses Caicedo, amongst like a litany of other like good options.
mhm.
Um, Ecuador as well. Oh, that's actually a mistake. That was not Colombia. That was Ecuador I was thinking about. But
Well, I
Colombia,
was just nodding
but
along.
but mistake completely blunderous mistake aside. Like I do think that Colombia is like an actually like genuinely loaded team. Like this is a team that still like has David Ospina as like a goalkeeper, but then
Mm,
aside from that, Musquera who's in the Premier League, Davison Sanchez who's seen a revival in his career at Galatasaray. Like they can still call on that same James Rodriguez, Jefferson Lerma, Daniel Munoz, who has been excellent for Crystal Palace, Luis Diaz, Luis Suarez, who's at Sporting.
yeah,
Like this is a team that I do think that is like a lot more talented than it was when it was just James going out there and trying
yeah,
to do everything he could. Um and like I said with Ecuador, like complete blunder aside, like Ecuador is still a team that like it's a very deep team now. Like I do think a couple of years ago you couldn't say that about them.
mm,
Like this team is going to be able to put out like I said before Moses Caicedo, but then you have like your players like Kendry Paez who's coming through our River Plate, so I believe I'll agree to transfer to move to Chelsea at some point. As amongst a talented crop of players, which includes like Estupinans who's at Milan. So it's not to say that of course, like at least grand scheme things should not really concern Brazil. But if you're talking about like that competition alone,
mm,
I believe those were two games where they would have dropped points. I think they struggled to play against Paraguay. They only got a point out of that game. They lost 4-1 to Argentina in that period. So of course, this is not like there's clearly not nothing, but I do like have some sympathy with like what has happened at Brazil, where like the turnover, especially like managerially,
mm,
where um they've brought in Ancelotti now, and Ancelotti is kind of like working. I don't want to say backwards, but like he's trying to figure out what his best team is.
mhm,
ahead of a short window because we're not talking about someone who's been here for the entire World Cup cycle, where
Yeah.
Ancelotti would have been hired, say, after 2022.
Yeah.
He's now coming at the end of closer to the end of last season, when he left Real Madrid, and
Mm-hmm.
he's doing a little bit of I would say patchwork because this is still a very talented team, but he's starting to figure out like what he values and Ancelotti. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be. Ancelotti has never managed at international level before.
Nope.
This is his first. So and I do think that like there are times where like we do think that international management is like club management, and it just isn't.
It just isn't.
It just isn't. You don't have players available to you 24/7. You're not doing
Mm-hmm.
training sessions. There's no tactical training in
Mm-hmm.
the same way. So I
Mm-hmm.
do think that like having to put some of this stuff together, you're assembling a squad of 26 players and trying to figure out what your tactical
Mm-hmm.
process is going to be. It takes time. And
Yeah, and
so
also Ancelotti is very much like a man manager where like
exactly.
he builds relationship with his players, but if he's not always if players are not always accessible to him, then he's not going to be able to build those like deep relationships. Like I think about the Estoval thing with the whole driving license stuff like that. Like that's the type of thing that Ancelotti does, right? Like he builds those relationships, but they're not always accessible to him. If he has to only see them like once every like 3 months or something, like where is the relationships coming from, right? So that's the type of thing that can be different for Ancelotti in club level and international level.
Yeah, so all those things aside, I still do think that like a team that was third top scorers amongst the turmoil that this team went through in that process, because the Conqueror is like a 2023 to 2025 process where you play some games there, you play some, then you come back, and you're playing against everybody else in South America. I do think that it is possible that when everything that's happening with international football, you can just have an unlucky tournament.
Mm,
Um, and not to reference the tournament beforehand, but the same Conqueror just before the 2022 World Cup. But that version of that team put up 40 goals and was the best team in the entire competition by a long margin. They only considered 6 goals across what I believe is like a 14, 15 game, 18. I don't know what the exact number is. But like it was a very good team.
mm,
And I still do think that there is the remnants of them. We'll get on to like who we think should be on the plane. I still think this is a very, very talented front line. Like I do not know if many nations will be able to call upon 8 better forward. I think it's the number we've set out, 8 forwards.
hmm
I don't think there's many teams that are going to be able to call up like
But that's not the thing.
eight
Talent
forwards.
is one thing, and being able to like get the best out of that talent in terms of like fluidity, getting the players to get along is another thing. Because I think that
Yeah,
that's been the problem with Brazil the past few years. I think since Carlo Ancelotti actually came in, I think he's done a good job. I've watched a few Brazil
I
games
agree. I agree.
that, and I've seen them be fluid. I've seen them like play the type of football that you expect four quality attackers to be playing. But in the past, I've seen Brazil struggle. The Copa America, especially, I remember how much they struggled to like just build like a fluid working system in that attack, right? And that's what has been going on with them all these past few years. When Ronaldinho has come out and complained, people are complaining, people are not enjoying what they're seeing. And like you said, this is the most stacked attack probably in the world. Like I don't think there's anybody aside from like France that can call up the caliber of players that Brazil has, but at the same time, it's not flowing, it's not clicking. Like, are there too many big ego, big quality players playing together that cannot get along? Is that the problem? Like, what exactly is the root cause of this problem? Right, but like I said, Carlo Ancelotti has been doing a decent job, in my opinion, in terms of like getting the players to get along, right? But that's not the question. Like, is Ancelotti the man to finally get the best out of this group?
I think it's a tough one because I think if someone like Ancelotti can't, then like, the list of managers who can is next to non-existent. Like this is as good as you're going to get out of a manager who understands how to manage personalities, who understands how to empower, not just getting players to pull in the same direction. I think one of Ancelotti's most underrated talents is like getting buy-in, but not just like buy-in, but like buying in the sense that you're almost managing with him. You are
Mm,
like Ancelotti. I can't remember where I saw this recently. I think he would have been one of the Madrid players a couple of years ago, or maybe it was Zidane, or I don't even remember. But Ancelotti is writing this where they mentioned that they basically coached out. They basically chose what they were going to play that day. Like they
mm,
had the tactics out and everything. Like Ancelotti is very Madrid in that sense, in that he
mm-hmm,
he's very in tune with what star players want to hear. He knows how to get them on side. He knows how to get them to buy in.
Mm.
And I do think that he's going to be able to do that. I just don't think the runway for in the time in which he's going to need to do it is long enough that he's not going to be successful. We're not talking
Mhm.
about like somebody that needs to go and win Copa America, go and win the World Cup, go and win. Of course, the expectation for Brazil is always going to be go out there and lift the sixth World Cup. But I do think that when the expectation is that, hey, look, Carlo can go out there and know that our expectation for him is just to go and win a World Cup. He's not thinking of, I just don't genuinely think that this team and this setup in Brazil are thinking about what happens after the World Cup. I think they're thinking we're getting Ancelotti because he's the man that is best suited to get us to the finishing line because he's the
Mhm.
guy that's going to keep us all pulling in the same direction.
Mhm.
Everything after that we can figure out. If Ancelotti is still the guy, that's fine. But I think that the beauty of having someone like Ancelotti, and he personally is not going to have any gripes with it. He's the kind of guy that I think he can go home tomorrow and just be like, you know what, I did what I could, I did best, and he moves on. Having a guy like him where he just comes in, he's going to give you the best 6, 7, 8 weeks of his life, and he moves on, is what is necessary for this kind of team. And then we can start talking about the rebuild heading towards the 32 World Cup
Mm.
or the 30,
The
no, the
2030.
30, the 2030, yeah,
2030. Yeah.
2030 for sure, yeah, yeah,
I mean, you made a lot of good points, right? And one of the things that you mentioned was time and the amount of time that he has with this team. And like I said, Ancelotti is very much like a relationship builder, right? And my only thing now is the amount of time he has had to build these relationships, like because like he has played with a few of these players before, like Vinny, who is probably one of the most important players for them right now. He has played with a few of them before, and I don't think that it would take too much for Ancelotti to build relationship with these players, but at the same time, like I feel like a manager like Ancelotti, one of the things that helps him is the amount of time that he gets with the players to build that relationship, right? Because as much as he has played with a few of them, he hasn't played with a good amount of them as well. And you would want him to have that time to just like build that relationship and just get them like behind him. And I think that they are behind him. I think they're seeing what he's doing, what he's putting down, and I think that is working. And I think that like they'll be able to get behind him. And he's a very established manager. Like this is a manager that who has managed the biggest players in the world. We're talking about Ronaldo. He gave Ronaldo his best ever scoring season. We're talking about Kaka. He gave Kaka a Ballon d'Or. Like we're talking about a manager who has managed the highest caliber of players. Like I don't see why you don't get behind that. I don't see. Let's he hasn't managed a international level. Like okay, let's see him manage at international level. Let's see what he can cook up. With this is a tournament manager, like so I can see them getting behind him, and I think that if, like you said, like if Ancelotti can't do it, then who really can? Like who in this manager market can?
yeah. And just to touch up on the final point before we move on, about something you mentioned there, like there are not many guys like if the Brazil national team cannot buy into like a guy who has won in every league he's gone. He's the only manager ever to have won in all five of the traditional big five leagues.
Hmm.
Um, who's won? I think he has the most
The
Champions
most
Leagues of any
Champions League
manager.
titles,
Most
yeah,
Champions of any manager. We're talking about like there is a world where we're talking about Carlo Ancelotti as like the greatest manager of all time.
I back that way.
He, I don't think he is, but like I don't feel uncomfortable with the conversation because
Yeah.
I just think that he's that good. Like somebody who has done it, like nobody has done the things he's done.
Hmm.
It's that simple. If
Hmm.
Brazil just cannot get behind that guy, there are not very many guys that are just going to be able to
Exactly.
live with that kind of support. So I think it's a good match, and it will all just depend on if they can figure out what that team looks like going to the first game in June.
I mean, that's what we're here to do because we're going to try and help Carlo pick that team and pick a best starting lineup. But first, I'm going to help him pick the 8 attackers that we think should make the World Cup. Okay. And we've already introduced you guys to the tier list format. You saw it in the England episode, but now you're going to see it in this episode as well. So, me and Dai already have our 8 players that we've already selected for the attack, right? And we haven't gone over them with each other, so I don't know what is on his list. He doesn't know what's on my list. So, that's what this tier list is for. We're going to go over a few of the players on this tier list right now, put them in the tiers. As you can see, the tiers are divided into 4: certified slash the 8, agree to disagree, just misses out, and no chance. Certified slash the 8 is you guys, the guys like is in the name, right? Like, they make it for sure, no problem whatsoever. Agree to disagree, that's going to be the interesting one because if I think that a player should be in the eight or just misses out or even no chance and Dai thinks otherwise, you have to put them in agree to disagree. But at the end of the episode, we do have to put them in just misses out or no chance. So the fun part about this is that no player can remain in agree to disagree by the end of this tier list. And then you have just misses out and then you have no chance, which don't need any explanation. So hopefully you guys understand and you guys can get involved in the game. Let us know your eight as well in the comments. But with that, let's just get into it, man. So Dai, the first player on the list is Vinicius Junior. Do we have to waste too much time on this?
Certified, 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 certified.
Certified. We
Let's
don't
next,
have to
next, next,
waste
next,
too much time on that one.
next.
Okay, so the next player on the list right now is Mateus Cunha. What are you saying? Is that on your
Certified,
eight? Certified?
certified, certified,
I'm going to agree for everything. Okay. Cool. The next player on the list right now, João Pedro. What are you saying?
certified.
Certified?
Absolutely.
I love this. I mean, to be fair, these are ahead. Now it gets interesting. You mark to your own hearts with Charlison. What are you saying?
Certified.
What?
Absolutely certified.
What?
He's absolutely certified.
You know
He's
what?
absolutely certified.
You know what? Yeah.
There is just like, sure, go ahead.
No, like I want to
He's
agree
certified.
with you. No, I want to agree
He's
with you,
certified.
but I didn't want it to be that swift. I wanted it.
Certified.
I didn't think that. Wait, explain your reasoning.
So if we're talking about a conversation here about like who should start,
Hmm.
sure, we can have the conversation. But you're
Yeah,
asking me to tell you who you think is going to
makes
be
that
on the
claim.
plane. I think that's on current form, reputation, previous
Hmm.
caps, a guy who like clearly is liked very much by Brazilian managers and the Brazilian locker room. If you take this guy 9 out of 10 times, like if people have questions about like if Richarlison is a good player like or not, like sure, fine. No, he's a Premier League player, of course he's a good player. But like not only like if you have questions about that, like sure, fine. You cannot question like guys who like care this much about playing for their national team and like also like care about playing at club level.
Hmm.
Like question Richarlison's like ability to play football. He 100% gives more than every single player on the pitch when he's on the pitch at every given time. These are guys you take no matter what
Hmm.
because because anytime he plays for Brazil, you can literally see like the emotion like running out of him. He cares so much, and I want players in my team who care this much as he does. I
Hmm.
would absolutely take him.
I agree. Honestly, like everything that you just said makes sense, man. And honestly, like if I'm being honest, I put him in my list at like the last second. Like literally
Yeah,
right before this episode, I had like only seven players and then one more. And I looked at it again and again and again. And I said, you know what? Richarlison is that guy. I do think that like he's one of those players that just like he just has that reputation with Brazil. And no matter his current club form, he would make it. But also I think that this season, however, like I think that that idea of like he's going to make it no matter what are kind of like shifted a bit, where it's like
that's fair.
he's not that player that makes it no matter what, right? But I still do think that given the amount of players, the new players in the team and everything, I do think that Richarlison is a player that just has to make it. I think that as much as like his club form is not the greatest right now, he's a player that can produce moments. He's a player that can give it his all. And if you just need a cheeky bicycle kick in the World Cup, you know who to call. So
Exactly.
I can back that honestly. Richarlison in the eight. I wanted to have more of a discussion about it, but I mean, I guess he's a man to your own heart. The next
Yeah.
player on the list is Martinelli. What are you saying?
Yeah, I take Martinelli. I think Martinelli.
Like in the eight?
Yeah,
Nah, not for me.
absolutely.
Not for
Okay,
me.
so make the case. So make the case.
For me, I just think that the players, because I haven't gone over all the players that I'm going to take, right? But I just think that with the players I have on my list right now, and with Martinelli's overall quality, I know he's a player that can make impact off the bench. He has shown that for Arsenal. And you want players like that because if Martinelli goes, like I think we can both agree that he's not going to be a starter, but he will definitely be a player that you can bring off the bench, right? But at the same time, like I just don't think that Martinelli moves the needle in general. Like I don't see what he brings that another player cannot bring. Maybe that impact of the bench is like what makes him go over any other person, but like in general, like it's just his overall quality for me just doesn't move the needle. Like I think that a lot of parts of his game are not complete, and I don't know. Like I said, like I haven't gone over my list, right? So this might not make sense until I put the players on my list. But at the end of the day, I just don't think that Martinelli moves the needle, man.
So here's what I will do for you. We can put him in agree to disagree,
Hmm.
and we will come back to him because I'm fine with
Yeah,
that.
I like
I'm
that.
fine with that.
Okay, next player on the list, Gabriel Jesus.
Absolutely not.
Like no chance.
Mm,
I'll say just
yeah,
misses out.
no,
Mm,
I have my
mm,
no chance. I have,
mm. Yeah, I hear that.
I have three Brazilian strikers I would rather have, and I
Mm,
think that that is no longer just misses out. I think
fair.
that's like I think you just, but like I'm fine with either. Like I wouldn't take him. It's kind of my points.
No, that's fair. Honestly, like I think
Yeah,
no chance. Like I think
maybe
I
that's
think
harsh. Maybe that's harsh.
it's harsh, but at the same time, I think just like with Charlison and losing that, like you get caught up no matter what. I think that Jesus has kind of lost that, and I think he has lost it to more extent because at least with Charlison, you always can always trust him, can always back him to like produce moments and give it his all. You can't really back that with Jesus, man. Like he hasn't done anything for Brazil to be like, oh my god, like Jesus has to go. So if you have three whole players that you take over him, then that's no chance in my opinion.
Yeah, and not just that. Like Jesus just doesn't play. Like this season,
That's the
league
thing.
wise, he's played 306 minutes in the league. That's 11 matches. He started two of those. Like we just the mileage here is just like the experience is kind of just done. And like for a while, it looked as if Brazil didn't have like a consistent like striker. They still don't, but I think the quality of the guys who like just miss out in times of old a lot better now than where Jesus kind of is, where he's
Mm,
not like this like all world like he's going to give you 20 Premier League goals or whatever it is in the league where like okay you have to take him.
mm,
He just isn't that player anymore. He doesn't play very often.
yeah.
And unlike Martinelli, who like I will kind of explain more why exactly I think you need to award him in the national team,
Mm,
I just don't feel very similar with that about Jesus. It's
mm,
unfortunate what his career has kind of been. But we're 20, he's 28 now. He's not getting any younger. He doesn't play very much. And that in itself disqualifies him for me. For even
yeah.
just like at least Richarlison's playing games. Richarlison
Facts.
like plays games. Like I still need if I'm just evaluating your talent, I still need a baseline level of competition that you're showing. And 300 minutes is just not even you're not even fit enough for me to physically take you to the World
Mm-hmm.
Cup. So I'm kind of just out on that.
I agree with that. I agree with
Yeah.
that. So with Charles Jesus, I'll say no chance. It seems
Yeah.
harsh, but three whole strikers, yeah.
Yeah.
Next
It
player
is
on
what
the
it is.
list, Rafinha,
Is certified.
yeah. No
Yeah.
argument there. The interesting one. Neymar Junior. Oi.
You should go first because you don't want you're not gonna like what I have to say.
I think I will because there was when the prospect of Neymar going to the World Cup came up, I was really excited by it. I was like, oh my god, Neymar at the World Cup. But I just don't like where's the fitness, where are the games, where are the minutes, like what is he going to bring? And I also just think that Neymar going to the World Cup with this Brazil team right now would kind of like affect the dynamic. Like because it's all good to be about him. Like, oh, does Neymar start? Why is Neymar not starting? Like, why is he not getting this amount of minutes? Like that type of thing, right? And then imagine Neymar, who is playing at Santos right now, not even to the highest level, is getting minutes over like players who are playing at the highest level right now. Like, how does that affect the dynamic of the team? Like, what does that say about the manager? Like, are these players going to fully be able to get behind the manager, knowing that he has favorites in the team, knowing that he's just playing Neymar because of his name, Neymar Junior? The only reason why I was even a bit excited by the prospect of Neymar going was a, I could imagine games where maybe Brazil are like winning 3-0 and Neymar maybe comes on in like the 70th, 75th minute, and then he just gets the crowd up, clapping, happy, and that type of joy. That's what the World Cup is for. That's those moments. That's what it's for, right? And I can imagine that a team like Brazil, who haven't necessarily been very, very good in the previous World Cups, like I can imagine that they need kind of that boost. And I think that someone like Neymar coming back to the team could be that boost. But at the same time, I just feel like overall Neymar could affect the dynamic at Brazil.
Yeah. I kind of landed the same way you are. Which is funny. But I thought this would be like a much harsher conversation in terms of like you would be like, oh no, like you have to take him and
Nah.
like Like and it's sad because I think Neymar has had an entire career of like unfortunate situations, like whether it was at PSG, it was at Barcelona. Like we're talking about probably one of like there are Brazilian players who probably would tell you that this is the most gifted Brazilian player of all time. He's that good.
Yeah.
But it's tough because he's been injured for the entirety of maybe okay, the entirety of his career is kind of like a stretch at this point. But for like the years you would expect this to be like the best player in the world, we haven't kind of gotten that. He's 34 now at this point. I do think that a bit to push back on your point, I think the minutes will be there. He played 1,531 minutes in Serie A last season. Important to know that Serie A wraps through, unlike traditional calendars where you start sometime in August and end in like March, May, kind of that like fifth, 6 month area just before June, through into the summer. The Brazilian window is played from January straight until the end of the year. So like now the season just started. So I do think he's going to be fit, quote unquote. But I'm just like, ah, it's Neymar is the guy that if like the attack was not as talented as it was, like you
Mm,
just take him because
yeah.
he's a guy that's been there.
Mm,
My only thing is that like the only thing that like really is dissuading me from this point of view is that like Neymar, this is Neymar's last chance to win a World Cup.
mm,
And there's something telling me, there's something nagging at me that tells me that if Brazil is as good as we think they are, then you have to take Neymar because the the beautiful thing you do for the guy who has given everything, and if correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Neymar is Brazil's all-time cap leader. I think I'm wrong on that. He's given 128 caps to Brazil. He scored 79 goals. Like we are talking here about, I'm wrong. It's Cafu that has the most caps, but it's Cafu has 142. But he's the top scorer of the national team, of the Brazilian national team. No small feat whatsoever. We're talking about a team that has fielded like an insane quality of forwards. But if we're saying that this Brazil team is as good as they are, can they risk to take on Neymar, who may or may not get injured? And this is like the kind of the thing I don't want to
mm,
say out loud, but that is just always going to be in the back of of everybody's mind. When Neymar goes down, it almost feels like he's always injured.
mhm,
Like it always feels like you're almost anticipating, like, oh, this has happened, that has happened, and this has happened. And I'm wondering to myself, like, can the Brazilian national team afford that risk?
mhm,
Especially if it's somebody who should have made it, and then you take Neymar instead, and
yeah.
then that person now gets called up and is like not all the way in.
Yeah.
And these are things that maybe are not even real, and footballers block these things out. But it's I would hate I would really hate if Brazil like wins the World Cup and Neymar is not there. As a,
That's so
like
true.
as when he's like it's one thing if he's retired. It's another thing if he's like still active and could have been there. But I just don't see the pathway here that exists where 34-year-old Neymar is the catalyst for a Brazilian national team winning the World Cup. And so unfortunately, I think if this team actually does want to win the World Cup, it needs to take its eight best forwards, and Neymar has not been one of the eight best forwards since probably the last World
Facts.
Cup.
Facts.
So it pains me to say it, but I think he just misses out on this. It's a very unfortunate situation, man. It's tough. It's tough. It's painful. It's painful.
It is
It's painful.
painful, and like I just think there's just too many things that are going to like I think I made a mistake on the minutes, like you said, but I think what I even meant to say was not even about the minutes, but it was about the culture shock of fitness
Of
because
course.
the
No, you're
fitness
still right.
levels of Vini playing at Real Madrid, Cunha playing at United, João Pedro playing at Chelsea, and Neymar playing at Santos is very, very different. And he's
Different.
going to be
I agree.
playing with other players who are more fit than him. And there's going to be a big culture shock in that. Like we're seeing players make the moves to like European teams. Like we saw Kante make the move to Fenerbahce to get his fitness levels up to increase his chances of going to the World Cup. But Neymar is still playing at Santos. Like he hasn't even made that move to a European team to at least get his fitness levels up, right? So it's like it would be sad if Brazil actually do, even if they go to the final and Neymar is not there. I think that would be very sad. But he's not going to be the game changer. He's not going to be the guy that like wins them the World Cup. So if he's not going to be that guy, I don't see why he goes over a player that could be more effective overall than a player just taking for sympathy. But he
Yeah.
did make the 26-man pre-list, I believe, recently.
Rightfully so. Rightfully
He-
so.
rightly so, rightly so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
would he make the final 26-man squad? You think just misses out?
I think I think it is really I think I was like having him in your camp just before the World Cup and him being there and
Mm,
giving you an idea of what it means to play at the World Cup at the highest level. You're the arguably Brazil's best ever forward, like being there in the camp. I think you I think that if Brazil were any worse than they were, this is a guy you bring on, not even forget even like sympathy for a second, just like a guy who's been there and done that. Like
mm,
I like it's the same reason why we talked about like Jordan Henderson making the plane for England.
mm-hmm,
Having a guy who is in your locker room that kind of gets it. And of course, Brazil unfortunately not won a World Cup in Neymar's play. While Neymar has been an active World Cup, while he's been able to go to the World Cup, Brazil have of course not won it. That said, like you still have a guy who has had a tenured career. He's arguably one of the greatest players of all time, even though his career has not panned out the way all of us thought it would.
mm-hmm.
So I still think having that guy in your dressing room through the process, and I still think he will be involved here and there. I still think that is quite of crucial. And so for that reason, I do still think that this is someone who, at worst, should be cut at the latest, like until you absolutely have to do it.
Can I ask you a
I would
question?
still, yeah, sure,
If the option came, like this is obviously hypothetical, right? But
sure,
if it was
sure.
between Neymar and Richarlison, who would you take?
I would still. So you're saying I have one spot left.
Like one spot left,
So
Neymar or Richarlison?
one spot left, no positional considerations because of course we're saying here that like I have enough strikers and I have enough wingers. So
Yeah,
it
like
doesn't matter.
all of that is settled. Like you just have
All
these
that is
two.
settled. You take Neymar. You take Neymar. For everything I said about Richarlison, you still take Neymar because you cannot replace what Neymar's eyes have seen. And all the respect to the career Richarlison has had, he's not Neymar. He's just not Neymar. And I hate to be the guy that I hate to literally be the guy that's a bit sentimental about stuff like this. But I think that the accumulation of Neymar's career is everything that is required to get somebody to a World Cup. If Neymar played for literally anybody who was not Brazil or like one of the five best countries on the planet, he would be going to the World Cup.
Fuck.
And that is just how it should be. I
Then
think I even still think he's going to make the like I'm
then I
talking
can't
myself
lie. No,
out
no,
of it.
no.
And I'm
You know
now
what's going
talking
on
it.
right now? You have
Yeah,
convinced me that Neymar should go
yeah.
to the World Cup.
That's what I'm convincing myself as I'm having this. Okay, you know what? Please put it in. I can't.
You have
I'm
actively
struggling.
convinced me
I'm like
that Neymar should go to
struggling.
the World Cup.
I
Like
am like struggling. I'm like struggling right now, and I'm
what?
annoyed because we don't have space for this. We
We
literally do
literally
not have
don't.
space. We don't. We're going to come back and we're going to say that he shouldn't. But let's put him in
No,
for now.
I've seen the
It's not.
vision and I've seen how it can. Then I can't lie.
No, no,
Like
no.
your argument was, you know, your problem. You were doing too much. Your argument was
It's
too good.
unfortunate.
Your argument was too good. I never just had like you're talking about someone
It's
that has
all.
been there. You're talking about no, no, no. Like I'm sorry, but you have moved me. You have moved yourself. And Neymar is making it to the cup.
It's very awful, man. Like I hate because he scored 79 goals for country. Like nobody has done that. Like
Facts.
he's the highest goal scorer of arguably the greatest national team, just in terms of accumulation of talent ever, accumulation of talents, awards, everything. No matter everything that it means to play at national level. This is the best national team as a combination of talent, awards, trophy, everything you want to put it together. This is the best team. And this is the guy who has been their top scorer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying my best to talk myself out of this. And it's impossible to do it because if this team wins if this team wins a
The World Cup.
a World Cup and he's not part of it, that just feels like a disservice to everything he's ever done.
Facts.
And so I promise you I'll still talk myself out of this.
I don't think I
But
talked me out of it at this point. Like I think I'm too convinced, and I just think that, like I said, the World Cup was made for moments. Like, and I think that at his age, Neymar is still able to produce moments, and I think that he's able to produce an experience for the fans as well. Imagine, are you there? Okay.
yeah, I'm here still with you.
Okay. Imagine Neymar, like I said, imagine Neymar coming on, man. Like imagine him coming on in the 75th minute, Brazil are winning 2-0. Like just imagine that. Just imagine the atmosphere. Even I feel like even the opposition fans are going to be clapping him up, man. Like pause, boy. You get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just yeah, Neymar is making this team. I can't lie. I think you've
I
convinced me too much.
I will say it has been a very long time since Neymar like has played for Brazil,
Yeah,
like in a
that's the thing.
competition, like in so that's one of the things that like I'm
And the
looking right
fitness as
now.
well.
Yeah, like he hasn't played. Last time Neymar suited up for Brazil was, oh my God, the 9th of December 2023. Oh, not even, sorry, that's a mistake. The 17th of October 2023. Like it's been
It's,
some time. So
it's been some
it's
time.
it's
I
it's
mean, it's a
it's like
new era, new manager.
yeah,
Carlo
it's tough.
Ancelotti is that guy
Yeah.
that he. I think, and Carlo Ancelotti also loves like an older legend. Like he loves them.
Yeah.
I think, I think, given that Carlo Ancelotti is the manager as well, I think that there's a big case
That
for
that
him.
that that is a very good point.
Yeah, I think there's a big case
That is
for
a
him
very good
wanting a
point.
player like Neymar there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
questions that go into it. The dynamic, is he going to be the main man? I don't think he can be. Like, how does
No,
that, like, if he's playing over somebody who has put in minutes in Europe, like, how are they going to feel? But at the same time, are they going to feel any kind of way? Because at the end of the day,
because
it
it's
is
Neymar.
Neymar.
It's Neymar.
Exactly.
It's Neymar.
So
Yeah.
I don't even think they'll mind too much. But yeah, I think I've convinced myself. You have convinced me. And I think the audience as well are convinced that Neymar should make that World Cup.
I
Thank you for your service.
I still want to say for what it's worth. I think that we're going to finish this list, and I'm probably still going to take him out.
Mm,
But
let's
let's have
see.
him there for now.
Let's see how it goes. So the next player on the list is Estoval. What are you saying?
I had a hard time with Esteval. But I think that I landed on the fact that I just don't think I think it's too soon. Like I had an internal debate about how many like quote unquote young players you can take to you with you on a World Cup. Just because like at some point you need to start bedding in young players into these competitive games because you need them to kind of understand what it means to play at this level. Esteval is kind of still young enough though that I think that um he's going to Esteval is going to play in many World Cups. I probably would guess that he plays in at least three, maybe two. He'll play in two for sure, maybe three, possibly four. He's that young. I think he's that talented. He's that good. Um, but I think that it's a bit still fresh. And I at the moment just would not go with him. It's kind of a shame. It's unfortunate, but I think he's one of the people that just kind of misses out. It's kind of tough. Kind of tough.
I would disagree, honestly. I think that Estoval should make this World Cup. I honestly get your argument, and that's something that I actually had in my internal debate as well. Like, like at some point, like you just have to allow them, and they'll make the next one. But at the same time, I just think that the way I look at Estoval, I look at him as like a breath of fresh air. Where it's like you have all these players right here who have been making the previous, like the 2018, the 2022, and they're under heavy scrutiny, right? Like there's so much pressure on them right now to perform, like, and everybody's watching them, everybody's like, and then they know that, so there's so much pressure on their shoulders. Like you have a player like Estoval who hasn't been involved in their environment, who since he's been playing for Brazil, there hasn't really been much scrutiny. Has been playing under Carlo Ancelotti, things are going well, things are going smooth. So you have all these players who still have all these things at the back of their mind. Still, as much as they play with some freedom, there's that idea of like, like I can't not perform. But you have a player like Escobar who is just going to play with freedom, which Brazil is known for. Brazil is known for expressive players playing with freedom. And I just think that out of all these players right now, I can see making this World Cup, all of them have expectations on their shoulders. And then you have a player like Escobar who can just come in and just be that new breath of fresh air for Brazil. He went on a streak as well where he was on a run of form, scoring all these goals. I can't remember how many goals he scored in how many games, but he went on a good run of form. So it's not as if I'm just saying that he should go just because he should go. He has actually played well for Brazil. I think he fits the dynamic of Brazil. And then also Brazil is just a team known for like that young players, like they always carry those one or two. Like you're looking at the 2002 World Cup, they carried Kaká. I think it was like 19 or 20 then. In the 2006 World Cup, it was Robinho. In the 2014 World Cup, it was Oscar. Neymar was still kind of young then as well. Like they just have that whole thing about like carrying players like Estovar. And I just think that in this group of players right now, I think that Estovar is the guy that makes it and is that new breath of fresh air for them.
I think puts me in a great disagree right now
I think that.
because yeah, and also you have to remember we have two spots left and not
Like
two
I said,
players.
I've come to like I know what I'm going to do about that last spot, and I'll draw attention to something that will piss you off. But yeah, agree to disagree makes sense right now.
Yeah,
Anthony,
absolutely no chance.
what?
I don't. This is not a conversation. I'm sorry.
What?
This is not a conversation.
What? I'm
It's not a
sorry.
conversation.
No, no, no,
This is
no.
not a
And
conversation.
I'm going to call you on your bullshit right now because I
This is
remember
not a
in the
conversation.
France episode you said that players have to be rewarded for good seasons. You're talking
This is
about
not. This is not
they,
that kind of season.
they,
This is
no,
not
that
that kind of season.
the,
Absolutely not.
the most goal
No,
involvement
you
for
have to.
Brazilian players, the most goal involvement for Brazilian
That
players.
is absolutely
He's in the top
fantastic.
five.
That is absolutely fantastic. This is not the kind of season that you like. Yes, I agree that I said that you have to reward players for having good seasons. You have to reward players for having like good to great seasons. And I think that even amongst what you are saying here, there's two things that I keep pointing out. We don't have the space to keep accommodating. We can't accommodate everybody. At some point, we need to make tough decisions. Anthony would probably be called up if he played for literally everybody else who was not named Brazil or one of the top five nations. He unfortunately does. He's not making the plane. There are more talented, much better players here on this team. Like just of the guys we've already named. Vinicius Junior is a more important, better player. Mateus Cunha is a more important, better player. Rafinha is a more important, better player. And and had he not been injured, there is another forward here that would have been a better and a more important player.
Facts.
At some point, you have to make difficult decisions. I
And I
completely
and I
agree
have
with
a
you.
difficult decision that I know I'm going to make.
This is not I like if I put him in agree to disagree. This is the guy that I was like pretty
But would
steadfast
you
that
really say
we're
no
not
chance
taking.
or just misses out though?
Maybe no chance is still like a bit of a
That's kind of
stretch,
harsh.
but
Because yeah, you
maybe
compare him to like Jesus who is not playing. Come on.
sure, like sure, that's fine. Like I just think his no chance is more so on the scale that like I just think there's a few guys here that I would just rather have. Like
I'll put him in agree to
so,
disagree.
no
And
problem.
then we
That's
can
fine.
debate that at the end. But the next player that we have is Hendrick.
So I went back and forth on this. This is actually the reason why I didn't put Esteban because this is the guy I actually want to take to the World Cup. It's Andrew. This is the guy I want to take to the World Cup. And I can already see that based on your reaction, this is not the guy you want to take.
No, I'm saying
Let's
my reaction is based on like I actually debated it as well. Like I really until like that last spot, I was actually thinking Hendrick, Neymar, like Richarlison. Like I was really debating that last spot there, and Hendrick is one of them. So you saying that he should go is making me
this is the
debate it again. But
This is yeah, because this is the guy that you actually take. Like Endrick has been nothing short of amazing since he got to league on. Like the sample size is still small here, but 613 minutes, 8 matches played, 3.08 successful dribbles is put him in the first percentile. He's dribbling at a 47.7% clip. That is 89th percentile. We're talking about a guy who has generated 0.46 xg and has scored 0.4 for goals. His X got is 0.68. So that is sorry, that was non-penalty XG. So that's 0.46 non-penalty XG against his 0.69 X got, meaning that his level of chances he's finishing has been absurdly good. 2.35 shots on target is 100 percentile value. Again, some of these like the sample size on this is very, very small. And that's the reason why some of these look very gaudy. But he has been exceptional. This is the kind of young player. Like, unfortunately, like I know Esteban is a great young player, but this is a young player like I want to take. He's a
who's done it
striker
for
in a.
Brazil though?
I'm sorry,
Who's done it for Brazil? That's the question.
who has done it for Brazil?
Who's
I
played
don't.
within Brazil
That
and actually shown that they can make an impact?
that doesn't matter to me unless like we're talking about like seasoned veterans. Like you like the who's done it for me argument to me is a thing that you argue when we're talking about like if you're picking between like two exceptionally like okay like when we had the France debate, I think we debated between Dembele and
Who's
can't
Olise?
remember when we Ogolise. Like that is the conversation about who's like what have you done for me recently? Or what have you done for me at this level?
Mm,
That's the fair debate because talking about guys who have had feasible time to actually make an effort. I think that this is a different conversation because we're talking about two guys who are 19 or younger who are still coming up. I won't take a youngster to the World Cup. I won't take the guy in the position where we're a little bit lighter. And I would feel very, very comfortable taking Hendrick over Esteban.
Agree to disagree.
Sure, that's fine.
Agree to disagree. I like this agree to disagree column is looking interesting. I can't lie.
Yeah,
The
100%.
next player on the list is Igor Thiago.
So when I said 5 minutes ago that you need to reward good players for good seasons, this is what I was talking about.
You-
An absolute breakout campaign, 18
yeah,
goals in 29 matches. Igor Thiago has played almost 2,500 minutes in the Premier League, and forwards do not look this good, man. He is freaking insane.
he is
Um,
insane.
0.61 x goals against 0.37 non-penalty xG, which is not that high because he takes penalties as well.
Yeah.
His overall xG is 0.57. Um, you're still getting somebody who creates 0.18 big chances, which is an 73rd percentile against other forwards, by the way. Um, just like a really efficient forward, like a proper like gunman nine.
Mm-hmm.
Just the level of involvement you're getting in build up is not that high, but like kind of doesn't matter when like the chances you put on him are almost like I don't want to say that like it's like Haaland stuff, but it feels a lot Haalandy where like he doesn't really get that involved in your build up. But when you put a chance on his plate, like he's going to finish it. He's just really efficient, very effective, takes penalties, very good penalty taker, absurdly good finisher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is probably the guy I would take.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what six players right now. I feel comfortable taking. Oh, this is tough because we do actually need, I think, another winger now. So probably come back to that
We'll come
conversation
back to
when we
that.
do. But you got Thiago, I feel very comfortable like
Yeah,
taking to the World Cup.
100%. Like
Yeah, he's,
the
he's
only
the
thing
guy
I
we
looked at
go.
was the fact that he has never played for this
Yes,
Brazil national team. Like
yes,
that's the
yes.
only thing I looked at and I was like, is the World Cup really the time to?
Yeah, when you debut the stuff, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree.
But
Yeah,
when
so
you're
that
talking
would be my
about
only
like
reservation.
a complete striker though, like I don't want to say complete, like that's a stretch, right? But talking about like
Sure.
somebody who I can imagine in a lot of situations and I need him to score a goal and he can score a goal, like running in behind, crosses, penalties. Like I don't think there's a lot of situations that will put this guy in and he can't score a goal. And I just think that a player like that, like and he's having a great season. Like it's not as if like it's just this player. He's not having like he's having an amazing season. Like he looks like one of the best strikers in the Premier League, right? Like so he just has to go to the World Cup. Like we're talking about
Yeah.
rewarding players. I know you don't want
Yeah.
to reward Anthony for some reason, but if
Yeah.
you're rewarding anybody, we should reward Igor Thiago with a call up. I can't see a lot of strikers who deserve to be on that plane more than him for Brazil. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we're going to put him in certified slash the eight, which leaves the other players gone because there's no space for them. So they
Yeah.
either
So
just miss out or there is no chance. Victor Roque is the
is there
next one.
anybody you yeah yeah
I think
since
I
since
think
since we're not really
yeah.
tough talk, is there anybody here that you still could make a case?
The only guy I looked at and I said, was Igor Jesus, and that's just because of his involvement in the national team recently. Like
Yeah,
he seemed like the Richarlison replacement in a way that like no matter his form, because his form was horrible for Nottingham Forest,
yeah,
but no matter that, like he was making the team. He has that like presence. He has multiple things that Brazil could use. Right when you have all these like fluid players like Vini and everybody, it's nice to have a player like Igor Jesus just like sitting around and everything, right? Like he's the only player that made me feel like he can make it, but at the same time, like if we're taking Igor Thiago, I don't see the point of taking Igor Jesus. So,
yep,
if out of all these players right now, I think I'll put Igor Jesus in just misses out, and I think I'll put the rest in no chance. Obviously, Rodrigo, a man to my own heart,
unfortunate.
got injured ACL, so he's not obviously not going. João Pedro is there twice. Sorry about that, but yeah, Igor
Yeah,
Jesus, yeah.
the only person I kind of wanted some pushback on actually was probably Victor Roque. Victor Roque, I take it you are kind of a little out on for similar reasons that you were initially out on Neymar.
Mm,
Just because there's not like the sample size here, like we were talking about somebody who has played um we're not talking about somebody who has played in Europe consistently this season. Like Victor Roque, of course, signed with Barcelona and that move didn't work out too well. He of course moved back to Palmeiras where he scored 20 goals in all competition across 56 games and was one of the best forwards in the Brazilian Serie A. this season so far. He scored 6 goals in 14 games. So, kind of picking up where he was before. I considered him briefly. I kind of thought about it, but probably another one where much similar to everything you noted before, maybe just feels a bit too early. As it
Mm.
pertains to the Brazilian national team, I don't believe no, he has two caps. But his debut came in 2023, where I believe he made both of his appearances. So I don't think he's visibly being before. So yeah, I think no chance.
Would
Unfortunately,
you
is
put me
where.
no chance? No chance.
Yeah, I think he did no chance. I think it's.
Okay.
I was thinking. I was talking through it, and I was thinking to myself, maybe they just misses out. But I think there are too many forwards, too many strikers here that are just a bit better, and unfortunately, he's just not going to.
What about Savinio? Do you think he just misses out, or do you think there's no chance?
Savinho is a tough one, man. Savinho is another one that kind of just like Savinho is tough, man. I really like Savinho. I've always liked Savinho. I think
I've always
Savinho is
liked
like
them as well.
he's just a really efficient dribbler, but the output since he got into City has just not been really there. Of course, in his first season, 24-25, he had 10 assists in all competitions. Eight of those come in the Premier League. And he's just like a really efficient, really like he's a very like old school but modern day winger. Plays on both wings. He's very tenacious as a dribbler, very direct. But just does not offer enough outside of that. Right now, I think since he's got to City at least, I think at Girona it was a bit of a different story. I probably just
Very,
needs a
very
change
different
of
story.
yeah, and he probably just needs a change of scenery to probably reclaim some form.
I agree.
But probably just doesn't feel right now like a um Brazilian player, but also what nothing because we've made the case that a couple of players here probably just deserve to make it based on the fact that they have history. Savinho actually has 13 caps and 1 goal in the Brazilian national team. That's not that many,
Mm.
but it's sure more than a couple of the players that we have here on this team. Certainly one that we've decided is going on the plane without ever suiting up in literally any other competition in Igor
Facts.
Thiago. So yeah, I think I land on just misses out. So he's
That's
one of the
fair.
ones that's a bit unfortunate, and perhaps with an injury to maybe like with 2 injuries in the front line, he's probably the guy that gets called up.
I mean, I agree with that. Honestly, I think that he's like more of like an injury replacement, maybe, but maybe not the first injury replacement, but like the
Of course,
second. And I think that
of course,
he doesn't have that much experience with Brazil, but he also does feel like one of those players that his form doesn't matter too much, that he can
yeah,
make the team. So yeah, I think just misses out makes sense. Obviously, there's no way that João Pedro makes the plane twice, so no chance. But
yeah.
yeah, now we have to clear out that agree to disagree column and stay strapped to your seat, folks, because it's going to be a long one. Because apparently, they does not agree with me on some certain topics. That first, tell me why you think Martinez should be making this play.
Okay, so before we even do that, let's kind of like make some let's game this out for a second. So
Mm,
right now with the 7 guys that we
mm-hmm.
have Vinicius Junior, Mateus Cunha, João Pedro, Richarlison, Rafinha, Neymar, and Igor Thiago. So that leaves us with what I look like is 3 strikers, two left wingers, a Rafinha who is like a Swiss Army knife, and Cunha who is a Swiss Army knife. But Cunha is mostly like a forward striker.
Yeah,
I
like
don't know.
I'll say it's like a forward,
Yeah, so the thing we're immediately missing here is like right winger depth.
right
We
winger.
don't have we don't have that.
I mean, Anthony is a right winger,
So
so just saying.
okay, so here's what we're going to do. Of the 12 guys that we do have, I think this is where we need to start making some difficult decisions.
Yeah,
We need to build this team like an actual attack and not a attack of guys that we just really like.
yeah.
So one of the things that we need to make considerations to, like I just said, is like the positional thing. So let's go from left to right. So let's start left wing. So
Mm-hmm.
we have 8 players. We have so that leaves us with about two
Two spots
two
for each, I'll say.
two spots for each, and then 2 guys who basically. So okay, here's what we'll do. Rafinha and Mateus Cunha are both versatile enough that I think that these are
Facts.
the two guys who are just like we take them no matter what because
Facts.
their best is talent. Their best skill is that obviously it's not their best skill, but for the sake of this conversation, their best skill is that they can actually do everything in our attack. They
Mm-hmm.
can be a striker, not for both of them, but they can no for both of them. They can be strikers, they can be left wingers, they can be cams, they can be right. Doesn't matter. It's not
Yeah,
important. So those are the two guys that so really we have 6 spots and we
I
have
agree.
to fill out 2 spots per
I think
position.
Joao Pedro kind of fits that description as well.
He does, but for the sake of the argument that we're having
Fuck.
here,
Okay.
I want to take the two most talented players
Mm.
that are kind of positionless.
Mm.
And no offense to him, Rafinha and Matheus Cunha are better players than Joao Pedro.
I agree.
So
There's no debate there for me.
so left wing, the guys we really have right now are Vinicius
Vinny.
Junior and
Uh,
Neymar.
mhm.
Do you feel better about anybody else throughout this entire tier? Let's open it up to the entire tier list at left wing than any of the guys that we have currently than Vinish or Neymar.
No, definitely not.
Fine. Then Martinelli just misses out because he's the only player that is a guaranteed left winger. I
Okay,
can't make exactly,
I see what you're doing. You're cooking up a storm.
exactly,
I hear it. I hear
exactly,
it.
exactly. Because as much as I wanted, because as much as I feel, because I have a case for Martinelli, but I don't think he's not nearly talented enough for me to be able to make a real case.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like I do think that he's probably one of the guys that you just have guys like this in your squad no matter what.
Yeah.
He's a finisher. Anyways, beside the point. Now we move on to striker. What we effectively have as striker is João Pedro, Richarlison, and Igor Thiago. And then on the fringes of that is Hendrick. So across those 4 players, which of those 4 players, which of those we have to bring that 4-2.
I remove
So
Richarlison
who
from the list.
this is tough because I don't agree, but I don't agree.
Ooh. Igor Thiago might not make it then.
It's tough. And as I said, we have to make tough decisions. This is why I said we have to make
Ooh.
tough decisions.
I mean, based on everything, based on he has never made it, we're not talking about World Cup, we're talking about like Brazil. Like,
Exactly.
is this the time to like do we hard launch Igor Thiago?
It's tough. And what
Honestly,
the and again, we're talking about a forward whose value is entirely predicated on production. We're the Brazilian national team. We
mm,
can find production.
mm, eh,
That is my case
and
for
also
not
like
bringing Igor Thiago.
Richarlison and Igor Thiago, like they can, like let's just say neither of them starts if they go right, like they kind of bring the same thing off the bench. Where it's like there's no point of having both of them in the team. Like if you have like a
Correct.
fluid forward like João Pedro, there's no point of
Correct.
having like Richarlison and Igor Thiago on the bench, right? So you only have one, and
Correct.
then you're looking at experience, you're looking at who has been there, you're looking at who can produce moments for Brazil. Yeah, I think he just misses
And
out.
and again, the more important point was the reason why I really pined for Richarlison at the start. You need a guy who guys seem to like. Like
Mm,
for all the banter that like Gabriel Martinelli, Martinez, I believe is how you pronounce his last name. I don't get that wrong, but Gabriel, centre back
yeah.
for Brazil, was all the banter that him and Richarlison do all the time is not like a club rivalry thing. That's
Mm,
like people don't understand. Those are like good friends. Like
yeah.
that thing you see there does not happen unless guys are good friends.
Yeah.
And that is what, so you need guys who in the locker room are guys who guys care about
Yeah.
because you're all fighting for the same thing. No offense to Igor Thiago, it's kind of just tough. You offer a lot of auxiliary skills that I can get out of Richarlison anyways. So yeah,
Facts.
so it's
That's
tough.
so
Man,
painful, but I hear it.
that's
I
how it
hear it.
works.
I hear
It's how
it.
it works. So okay,
Yeah.
so now we've eliminated Igor Thiago. Now we're down to
Right
João
wing.
Pedro. No. We're not even done because we have Richarlison, João Pedro, and now Hendrick. Do you feel better about João Pedro, Richarlison, or Hendrick?
I definitely feel better about taking Joao Pedro and Richarlison than Andrew.
Perfect. So Hendrick just misses out. Unfortunate. That's my kid. That's my dog. And the way we're doing this
I mean,
experiment always
he's never
actually
played strike for Leon, right? He's playing right wing.
Even all of a sudden, that's what okay. More interesting for me bringing it right back up because this is
Yeah, that's what I was
because now
like.
you see because now you see what I'm about to tell you. I think you're not about to like what I'm going to tell you. So now
Don't even
this
try it.
leaves us. This now leaves us with six players across. No, so that's six.
One,
Yeah, so
two,
six
three,
players.
four. Yeah.
But hey, look, no right winger. So
We need
hey,
two.
Anthony, shout out to you. It seems you've been called up. I was
Ooh.
wrong. I was wrong.
Ooh.
I was
Ooh.
wrong.
I like
I was
oh, I
wrong.
like how this is going. I like how this is
I was
going.
wrong.
But,
I was
but,
wrong.
but, but, but,
I was wrong.
but, based on where I think you're going with all of this, if you ask me between Estoval and Anthony for right wing, I'll take Estoval. Honestly, I'm looking at this right now and I take Estoval and Anthony. I know I just spot it, but I take Estoval and Anthony.
You got it the wrong way around, my boy.
Who do you take?
It's Anthony and Hendrick.
Oh, you know what?
Anthony
Let's
and
put
Hendrick.
Anthony. Like it seems as if both of us agree on Anthony, so let's put Anthony.
Yeah. I'm pained to agree. But unfortunately, based on the nature of the experiments and actually thinking about this as a front line, Anthony, unfortunately, suddenly, surprisingly, seems to be an actual member of this squad.
I
Crazy. I didn't
told
expect
you.
it.
I told you. I thought it's true. Maybe I did. Maybe I
That's
didn't
fair.
present
That's
it
fair.
well enough when I
Hey,
was debating, but I thought
hey,
it's true.
that's fair. Hey, that's fair.
But
So now,
the two, the big ones, the this is where the
look,
debate
man,
starts.
I would sometimes, yeah, I can present a compelling case, or I can say to you that you can have two Real Madrid forwards playing for the Brazilian national team. It's up to you. I can either present a real case, or I can say, hey, Brazil got two of the best forwards at the national
I'll
team.
settle
They
for
were
a
they
Real
were
Madrid and a Man United player.
they were going to be. Oh wait, you can have two Real Madrid players and a United player. Anyways,
I'll settle for
look,
one Real Madrid, one Man
but
United.
look, but think about it. You are going to get two Real Madrid players anyways onto Rodrigo bursts his I was his ACL or his ankle
ACL
or his Achilles. ACL bursts into a million pieces. So you are going to get two Real Madrid players. What I am now offering you is the opportunity to have that exact situation pan out.
is okay.
Isn't that
It's
isn't it
okay.
beautiful how life pans out?
It's okay. It's
Isn't that
okay.
beautiful?
It's okay. That see, I've heard the dream of having two Real Madrid players there has died with Rodrigo. It's fine. It's okay.
So I offer you one last alternative.
Let me even start because I gave you Olise for France. Why can't you give me
That is
Esteban?
so fantastic. That is so fantastic. But in life, I like things going my way.
No, see,
so
okay,
so
they no because I can't even give me what's your second whatever.
I present to you a second alternative that the people may not love, but that it might have to be done.
Oh, which is
What if I hate to present it to the people, but I must. What if Neymar out, Hendrick and
ooh.
Esteval out to the old, in with the new bloods. Hendrick and Esteval both make the play, and in return, a legend finally retires from the Brazilian national team. It's a sad
If
story.
you're telling me to drop Nima just so that Andrew can make the plane, I would
Sad
not do
sto-
that.
well, sorry. Well, let's not get it confused. We are dropping Neymar
No,
so
we are
that
not.
Esteval
We're
makes
not
the
doing
play.
that. Like,
No, no,
like
no, 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 no,
they.
no,
You
no,
know what
no,
I'm
no.
doing right now? You know what I'm doing right now? I'm looking at Brazil's. I'm even looking at like what the last like 6 games. Estoval has started 4.
I'm so happy for him. We're,
And
we're,
you
we're,
continue
we're,
to be
let,
happy for him
we're
when he
letting
makes
him
this
we're
squad.
letting him we are letting him touch the Celestial shirt so that when June comes around and he's not making the team, he knows why. Because he had his time. He enjoyed he felt up on the
But
pitch,
he's
he
having
told his
he's scoring goals.
that's
He's
so great.
fluid. It is working. It is actually working. Like he actually
That's
looked like
great.
if
But
you know what's so
at
crazy? If Estoval let me tell me an argument. If Estoval makes this trip, he's starting for Brazil. If Endrick makes this
absolutely
trip,
not.
he's not starting for Brazil. That's
No.
my argument.
That's not a good argument. It's a bad
It is
argument.
is
Then
my
your argument
argument. If
then your
Estoval
argument
makes this
is a
trip,
bad argument.
he's starting for Brazil. If Endrick makes this trip, there's even a chance that he doesn't even play. Like he
If
plays like one
if
minute.
No, no, we're not doing that. That's not how that works.
What do you
That's
mean
not
that's
how
not
that
how that
works.
works? That's literally how it works. Like, do I
That's not
take
how
a
that works.
starter or do I take a
That's not how that works.
scrappy bench player? Like,
I love how you're referring to like Hendrick, your player,
it's so crazy
your Real
because I
Madrid player,
love Edric, right,
as
with a
a
passion.
scrappy bench player.
I love Edric with a passion, but this is Brazil. This is
Exactly.
Brazil.
All the more reason why the like actually good player right now should be taking on play. Yeah, I
Don't
said it. I said it. I said it.
don't
I said it.
who is okay, then who is better at playing right wing? Not who's a better player, who's better at playing right wing?
Unimportant.
What do you mean? Oh,
Because the whole
you.
point of this experiment and the way we formatted this team is
Hmm.
that hey, in actuality, neither of these guys are starting because Rafinha and Mateus Cunha are still going to play games. And the
Yes,
whole
and
point
when we
of
when we
slotting
get
those
when we
two
get to the
guys,
lineup, you see why I believe that Esteval can be a starter.
no, absolutely not. You know what? You know what? You know what? I will branch an olive out to you. I will say let's take them both. And
And
somewhere down the line, the Brazilian national team will figure it out. They have
but you
26
know
players.
what?
They have
You know
they will
what?
figure it out. This is not
You
my
know
headache.
what? I hear it.
This is
Like,
Carlo Ancelotti's headache. Like
ah,
take them both, and then I'm sure somebody will get caught. Like oh
I hear it.
maybe Anthony will slow down and we'll have to have this conversation as well.
I hear
I'm
it,
even
bro.
fine. I'm even fine with just not taking Anthony. You know, you're the one that wants to do all this
But
rubbish nonsense. Oh, take him.
don't act like you did just say that Anthony should make this trip. Don't act like it was
That's
just me.
like so fantastic for him.
You know what?
Like
Just for the purpose of this episode right now, just so we can stick to the rules, let's let's drop Anthony and then take the two.
I am beyond elated to do that. You will never see me complaining about that. Let me tell you that.
Anthony, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm actually so sorry, but
That's
this is for
life.
the like such is life, man. No, let me. I'll have to put Esteban before Andrew because he disrespects.
But now you're
They
putting Esteban next to Nima. Like, let's put the actual generational talent next to the actual generational talent. Like, let's
yeah,
not be
so Esteban
taking,
stays.
let's not be putting anybody beside anybody, please. Like,
They I don't like you know because right now you're making me alienate a player I love. I don't like that.
maybe you stop alienating players you love. You know, good players, by the way, not just anybody. Good players. You know that are scoring goals, that are playing games. Is Esteban scoring goals and playing games? And please don't tell me about Esteban scoring against Hull. I'm not interested in all of that. We're talking about actually good teams. Like, you
They
know,
if Esteban
I don't want to seem like an Esteban hater because Esteban is actually like a really good player. Like, I love Esteban, but you know,
I can't. You know what? I can't wait for us to get to the starting 11 because actually now that we're seeing so different because we have to do a starting 11 based on these 8 players that we have right now. No, oh, we put Anthony there for some reason. If we change this slide over to the starting 11, so it's the start not starting 11, sorry, the starting attack. There's no you pick out of these players that we have. You pick out of this bunch. I hope you know that.
yeah, well aware.
Okay,
And yet, I'm looking at minutes right now. I'm looking at minutes right now
don't
on
give a
what
toss
do you
about
know
your
that
minutes, bro.
do you know that Hendrick has played just as many minutes in League 1? Just League 1 that Esteban has played in the entire Premier League. No problem.
Why
Continue
do
to
you
the
say
next
just
person.
League On as if League On is not the league for
No, because he joined League 1 in
yeah.
January. Esteban has played an entire full season. Just for context
I
here,
don't
Esteban
give a toss. I
has
don't care.
played 19
I
games
don't
and
care.
749
I
minutes.
don't care.
Hendrick has played 8 games and 613 minutes.
I
Tell
couldn't
your
care
rookie, get his
less.
minutes up.
I
Tell your
couldn't
boy, get
care
his minutes
less.
up.
You know what?
Tell your
Now
boy, get his
both
minutes
here,
up.
let's go over to the starting 11, the starting attack, and let's see who actually gets some minutes. Let's see. Okay, so now we're switching over to the next segment of the episode, which is determining the starting attack. Ignore the other positions on the pitch. We couldn't care less. That's for Carlo Ancelotti to decide. But for us to decide is the starting attack for the Brazil national team. But first, we have to decide on the formation. And what do you think the best formation for this Brazil team is?
Um, I think I know what you're going to say, so I'm fine with going with 4-2-3-1. But
Oh,
I
okay.
think you would. I think you're going to say that. I think that's what you're going to say.
That's what
Even
I
though
was
the
going to say.
actual, even though the actual answer is 4-3-3. But sure,
Four
let's.
three three.
Yes, correct,
4-3-3. I don't want to
correct.
go into all of that because it's not mean that we have to start answering, oh, who's the other midfielder. Like, I don't want to go into any of that. Well, for me, I would say 4-2-3-1. And yeah, so we're going with a 4-2-3-1 for the Brazil national team. So now we have to pick the best starting attack for this team. I have to put the players in their rightful positions where we think we can get the best out of them. And where do you want to start? Left wing, right wing?
Left wing because of the easiest answer.
Mm,
Just put Vinicius Junior in there. Like, not much needs
mm,
to be said about the guy who's
mm,
probably no,
mm,
no, no,
mm.
no,
I have
no.
another, I have another thing I
There
want
is
to.
no argument. There's
It's
no
not an
argument
argument
here.
for him. That, obviously, I'm not going to say Vinicius should not start, but it's an argument for
Where
where
he
he
should start?
starts.
No, absolutely not. There's no argument here. Because I'll get onto it, but like I think Vinicius should be the left winger because I think there's a guy who you actually should just play as calm, who like is just a much better calm.
Which
If
is
that's what it's Rafinha. Rafinha should be their calm.
Rafinha cannot play calm. I'm tired of making
No,
these arguments.
nope,
Rafinha cannot play
nope,
calm. See,
nope.
Rafinha. I've seen Rafinha try to play calm. It does not work. When he plays calm for Barcelona, it does not work. He's not like he has calm tendencies, but he is not a calm. I've seen multiple games where they've started Rashford, Rafinha in calm, Lamine and Lewandowski or Ferran Torres, whoever they want to start in that strike, right? And in all those games, at halftime, they sub out Rashford and move Rafinha back to the left wing. Why? Because it was not working. He had done it multiple times. It is clear that Rafinha cannot play calm. Just because a player has tendencies doesn't mean that he plays in that actual position. Rafinha has calm tendencies. I don't think that he's a calm.
So just if we're correct here, you want to take the team's best player out of his best position
But that's
to accommodate for a player that is not better than him.
no, but it's not even about accommodating. It's about the fluidity of
It
this
is quite
Brazil
an
team, though. No,
accommodation.
because I know how, like, the way Brazil play, they play a very fluid front line. And I think that,
Hey, fantastic.
you know
Rafinha can
what?
end
You
up
know
on the
what?
left
You
wing
know what?
anyways.
Let's. I want to ask you a question, and it's
All
kind
right,
of spoiling it, but at the same time, like, you don't have to
sure.
tell me the player, but tell me the profile. What kind of striker do you think that Brazil should have? Do you think they should have more of like a box presence striker? Do you think they should have like more of a fluid striker? That would answer this question, or it will help answer the question.
Hmm. I think you should still like. I think we should still be going with somebody here who like. No, give me the box presence because like that makes more. That just makes more sense to go with the box presence forward. No,
Hmm.
disagree.
I mean, like anything, it depends on the game, depends on the needs, right? But
Yeah,
overall, I think that Brazil are better off with that whole fluid front line. I think that that's the way that I've been going about things in recent games. I think that that's something that Carlo Ancelotti likes. And the way I'm thinking about it, like, I've watched games. I remember this particular game against South Korea. Brazil won 5-0. And it was a very fluid front line of Vini, Esteval, Cunha, and can't remember who played Rodrigo. And I don't think I'd seen, obviously, it was a friendly South Korea, whatever, but I don't think I'd seen Brazil play such fluid football, such good football in attack for so long up
yeah.
to that game
Maybe it's
in
yeah.
particular.
Maybe it's because they're playing South Korea. No
No,
disrespect to
but
South
also,
Korea.
just like it made sense for Brazil to play that way. Like it made like
Yeah, but
and I get
any
your argument though for
any
the
any consideration we should be making about the best 11 has to consider the fact that we are both going to be playing some of the best teams in the world as well as some of the worst teams in the world.
mm.
So that is my case for why you play
So
your best player in your best position.
yeah, but that's not the thing. You play your best player, your best position. But if it's like that, then I don't see like if Vinny starts in left wing for me, Rafinha doesn't start, and I'll be 100 because I told you that I'm a big advocate of. I'm not a fan of like putting players on the pitch just to see that one of my best players is on the pitch. Like if he's on the pitch, he needs to be playing his best position. If I can't put him in best position, then he's not a starter.
I have one compromise for you here. I would like to change formations.
To
A 4-2-2-2.
mm,
I would like to do that, and I would like to play
mm,
Rafinha as a left winger and play Vini as a striker,
mm, mm, mm,
as a left hand side striker.
mm. I see where you're cooking. You're cooking. You're cooking.
Does this appease you?
You're cooking.
Does this appease you? Does this
Uh,
appease you?
it does the job. You know what? You know what? It does it. It does it for me. It does it for me.
Because I still want Vinicius Junior to be dominating the left hand side of the pitch. So if your
Facts.
argument is that you still feel as though you want Rafinha to also be in that same space, I'm fine with that because like at the end of the day, I don't want to have. I understand what you're saying, but like having, and I know it's not. I know central is just having Vini as a central attacking midfielder is like is in name only. Like he's going to still drift
Yeah.
on the left wing. He's still going to get involved on that side of the pitch, but I still want him to be in advanced left wing areas and having a player like Rafinha, um, I either want him to have that space himself or for him to be the most advanced player in that position. So
Mm.
if he's the most advanced player, I'm fine with playing Rafinha as left winger, and then Vinicius Junior is basically
I
it's
hear
not
it.
even really a striker. It's more like a full. He's
Yeah. Like
yeah.
a left
Anyways,
forward.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
I hear
So
it. Like I just like I think I was putting Vinny there to kind of accommodate and also because I'd seen it before and it worked. But
mhm,
you want your best player to be playing in the best position, right? And
correct.
yeah, that makes sense. But if I'm putting Vinny in his best position because I want my best player to be playing the best position, then I want my player to play with somebody that complements him. Like I want to build around my best player basically, right? And Vinny loves playing with the traditional number nine, like all this fluidity and everything. Yes, he likes it. Yes, it's good and everything, but he likes box pressure. He likes someone that when he gets to the byline, he can cross there. He likes somebody that is going to occupy the center box and draw them away from him while he does all the skills, right? So if I'm starting Vinny in his preferred position, that means I'm starting, unfortunately, Richarlison in this team as well.
No arguments from me whatsoever. Perfect outcome.
Mm. So this is what you wanted all along.
Maybe, but like it's like the right answer. Like
This guy has just
tradition.
like you guys. This is how they is like he just manipulates the situation until he gets his way. This is what we wanted to do
It's
for Edric as
it's
well.
it's because it's the right answer. Like having Richarlison in a team
Oh,
where lots of the transcription is going to come through players who want ball to feed, who like are going to keep the ball on the ground, and are still going to flow crosses into him. He's the best aerial presence they have. Like he's the best. The guy that gets. He doesn't need too much of the ball. He's not going to get that involved in build up. He can stay up. We can occupy the defenders on the back line. He can push the center backs back. He's going to do a lot of like the dirty work, striker work, that he's been accustomed to doing so. And he's just a guy that flew through the margins and gets things done. So yeah, perfectly fine with that.
I mean, I hear it honestly. And we're taking him, so if we're taking him, then he might as well be a starter, right? So
Yep,
that's so crazy though. Like, which I was really like from somebody who I'm not even sure should be going to somebody who is starting. Like, that's a crazy come up, man.
just who he is. Just who he is. Never say never to my boy. You know.
A man to your own heart. Okay,
Yeah.
so the last position on the which is one that I can see a debate coming up. The right wing.
I mean, there's no debate. There's one right answer.
Who?
It's Anthony.
Anthony's not here. I told you.
We
We cannot. We literally cannot.
okay, then there is a very amicable solution. Take
Anthony,
Anthony,
I'm sorry.
drop
Wait. If Anthony was here, you'd have started
take
Anthony.
take Anthony and drop Esteval.
There's no
Simple.
going back. I told you that. I told
Yeah,
you like that.
that's no,
Guys, I remember this. I said that if we switch screen 1 week, like
nope,
there's no switching.
nope.
So
Disagree.
I don't care. I don't like take.
Okay, that's fine. So let's go with João Pedro.
What? You're
What?
really going to play João Pedro in
Absolutely,
right wing
absolutely.
just so that
You
Esteban
want, you
doesn't get
want,
some
you
minutes.
want, you want somebody who is a forward that understands fluidity. This has been João Pedro's USP since he was at Brighton. Just a guy who is able to combine, get into good half spaces, He's still a goal
Yeah, but
threat.
he's not going
He's
to
still going
play
to
right
link up.
wing. Like, you're putting him on the pitch just to put João Pedro on the pitch, not to put a player who's going to be efficient in his position.
If I'm making considerations about like who is on this team, I can also still, if I, now going further than the scope of what this conversation is, but it's important to keep in mind that Brazil's starting right back going into this tournament, I believe, is going to be Wesley, who is at AS Roma, who is effectively a right wing back. The right winger is probably not going to be tasked to doing that much stretching of the pitch anyways, because that overlap is going to be doing a lot of what is being done there anyways. So if I have a player who's able to come central and combine, he's a right winger in name only. Getting João Pedro on the pitch is just having yet another goal threat. He can still come deep to combine and keep possessions ticking over. He's going to do a lot of the um He's going to do a lot of the my apologies. He's going to do a lot of like combination. He's going to combine. He's going to come short. He's going to be able to get forward. He's still going to be able to drive. Like fine dribbler. Nothing like too impressive. Like
Mm.
he's fine, but the limit is still going to come out of Wesley. I think that there is a real case for someone like this being able to still give you effective minutes.
Can I make a counter
He's
argument?
sure. Go ahead.
Cunha.
So this was the action name I wanted to put in, but like with no real history playing on this side of the pitch, it just does not make that much sense.
But
I
what
just
makes sense in my head is moving Rafinha to the right and moving Cunha to the left. And then since you said there's no need for
Ooh,
that
I like
for
that.
somebody
I like
holding
that.
the width, then
I like
Rafinha
that.
can do his whole thing.
I actually love that. No, I love that. I love that so much. I love that very much. Yeah, let's do that. I'm fine with that.
Guys, did I just get my way?
Hey, no, you
Did I just
didn't.
get my way?
You wanted to start Estival, which was like a
No,
sin,
but
a cardinal sin. Nope. Nope, nope,
but at
nope,
the
nope.
same time, like I don't mind
Nope.
a
Let's tell
United
the
player
truth,
being the
please.
starting level. And honestly, I just think
And
that
I absolutely don't mind either. Because guess what?
you have a sports player there as well.
Yeah, but not even that. Esteban is not starting. He's now all of a sudden he's like a 0 minute man. Because we still have Neymar. I don't care that he doesn't play on the right wing, but we still have Neymar. We still have João Pedro.
João
Bro, we
Pedro
have
is not
options.
like
Like
if João Pedro is not playing on the right, bro.
I would
Like
rather have João
that's
Pedro on the right
disgusting.
than have
Dan Estoval.
get your minutes up. We don't even cracked 1,000 minutes in the league. We're talking about a guy who has not cracked 1,000 minutes in the league. You don't want to take Neymar because of me. You don't want to take Neymar because of minutes restrictions or minutes considerations, but you want
And
to
no
take
fitness.
Estival. How much fitter can Estival surely be when he's playing less than 1,000 minutes in a Premier League season?
Hmm.
Just how fit is he going to be? Just you tell me. You tell me. You tell me. He's played
Who?
19 games, 749 minutes. Do you want to know how
And one
much
of
that
those games
ends
was
up per
cooking
90
Barcelona, by the way. Just saying.
in the league?
I don't see. I don't see. Oh, you're talking about the league only.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Consistent play.
I mean, I get what you're saying, bro. I'm just saying that, like, shit,
39 minutes per
international.
game.
There's a
39 minutes
reason.
per game.
There's a reason we're taking Richarlison, right? There's a reason we're taking Richarlison
Sure.
over
Because
Igor
he plays
Thiago.
minutes. They both, yeah, no, but that's okay. That's a different conversation because the
It is,
conversation
but
there,
like, it's kind of
yeah,
similar in the sense of like,
Richarlison plays games. Like, actually plays games. Esteval does not. That's the
like I,
case. That is the case.
I honestly couldn't even care less about what you're saying because we're already determined it. So whatever
Sure,
mind
no
games you're trying to
problem.
do with me
Like,
right now, like
that's
I
fine.
couldn't care less.
Once the team is announced in I don't. The best part about this conversation is that we're going to get some answers as to what Carlo Ancelotti is leaning into. Because I believe international break is next
So
week.
things
Yeah,
like
they play.
the
So they play France on the 26th. So
mm,
we will get some answers there in terms of what exactly they're thinking, what the process is. And so we'll know who and what they're kind of planning because this is now the phase in which you're starting to like actually play tangible games. In last year was one thing, but I think in the new year we'll start getting some real answers. And so yeah, they play France, which is a big game, so we should get a really strong team as well, and we should probably know who will be making the plane,
and who
Hendrick,
doesn't.
and who will not be making the plane, Esteban.
Please, I beg.
That's
There's,
true.
I'm not even in the mood for your rubbish, but
That's true.
I do have questions for you that I have to ask. Unfortunately,
Sure.
not that I'm pissed at you right now, but it's
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah, go ahead.
The
Just shoot.
question, the question I have right now is: out of this bunch of players that we have now,
Mhm.
who needs to step up and who can step up and be the main man for this Brazil team going into the World Cup?
So I actually also pushed back on this because you sent me a couple of questions, and this was another question I kind of pushed back on. I think that the whole idea of like stepping up is an idea that is kind of ported over from. So in 2020, when COVID happened, one of the things that was very evident and clear to a lot of people is how much entertainment people were taking in. And one of the things that came out during that period was The Last Dance. Now, The Last Dance came out and was a success, was a hit. But one of the mistakes that The Last Dance conflated was making people think that basketball players are like football players. They're not even remotely the same. So now we have to deal with insufferable things like people saying that players are clutch in football, which is
Mm,
not a real thing. Being clutch in a 90-minute, 11-a-side sport is not a real thing. I'm begging people to please stop using this term. It's not a real thing. You cannot be clutch in a sport where in basketball you shoot, but there's no goalkeeper, there's no obstruction. The idea of being clutch and coming through at a point when there's no way to properly complete that other than saying that somebody has scored a lot of goals at a certain period of time in the game. But I don't believe that is a real thing because all these things are situational. If Gabriel Jesus came out, it was not Gabriel Jesus, but let's say Gabriel had scored like 5 headers in extra time this season, I think a lot of people would say, "Oh, but like Gabriel is so clutch." That's not a real thing because again, the ball still has to get its way to Gabriel. He still needs to he still needs to head the ball in, and it doesn't take in any consideration for what might have happened to the goalkeeper in that scenario. I still always to say that I don't actually think that the Brazilian national team needs players to quote unquote step up because I think again in a team sport, all that is necessary is that we are all pulling in the same direction, have a good tactical identity, believe in something, and we are all pulling in the same direction. Now, all of these things aside, and you just wanting a fun entertainment answer that you can clip up later, the answer, of course, is Vinicius Junior, who is the best player on this team by quite some margin. I feel comfortable saying. But I feel very confident in that because Vinicius Junior is probably one of the seven best players on the planet.
no
Five,
debate
if you
here.
had to
Five.
beg me. Yeah, five if you could really ask me to kind of get that number down. So I don't ever worry about players like that. So I think another issue is that in tournament football we start to and I think a lot of this there'll be some bleed over from the 22 World Cup because of the final we got. People need to stop treating tournament football like league football. Like the best teams don't always get to the final, and
Mm,
that's fine. It's a one-off. It's a one-off competition where you don't need to be the best team in the world. You need to be the best team for about 6 games. I
mm,
think is the number. So it's not. So I think we often focus too much on like who has the best team, as opposed to like who has the mental fortitude and talent to consistently show up. What we're asking is like, who is the most consistent team? That is who is the most consistent team in this like very short period. Like Croatia were very consistent when they got to the final in 2018. You just need teams that are consistent, have an identity. Greece back in '04, I think it was.
oh
I might be
four.
getting that wrong. '04, where I don't know if they made it to the finals, but they were or they won. I can't remember
We're
off the
talking
top of my
about
head.
the Euros. Talking about the Euros.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, the Euros rather is what I
Yeah.
meant, not the World Cup. But a lot of these things is just like who is actually the most consistent team. It doesn't necessarily the best team does not always make it to the final. 2022 was a rare year where like probably two of the best 4 or 5 teams made it to the finals, and that doesn't normally happen. So I say all this to say that I think Brazil will be fine. I think Vinicius Junior will be good. I think Rafinha will be good. Rafinha is coming off a year where he arguably could have won the Ballon d'Or. Obviously, he didn't. I think he had a real case there at the end. Vinicius Junior, of course, is a Ballon d'Or level forward at any given time. Cunha's had a great season. Richarlison's been good. And then outside of the forward options, you have Bruno Guimaraes, you have Marquinhos, you have Gabriel. This team still employs Alisson, Ederson. Both Edersons, the one at Atlanta, the one at who's in Turkey, I believe it is now,
Yeah.
the goalkeeper, basically. This is a very good team. I think what just needs to happen, and we've covered all this before, is that they need to come together, they need to go in the same direction. But they're very lucky to have Carlo Ancelotti, who should
As
be
their
able to do
manager.
that. Yeah, exactly. They're very talented, and so the long answer is that I don't think that this matters as much as
Mm.
is made out to be. The short answer is their best player in Vinicius Junior, but I think Vini will be fine because Vini is a great player and just awesome. So
I mean, I agree with a lot of stuff that you said, right? And I do think that, the idea of like a clutch player can be over exaggerated at times. That being said, I think that a team like Brazil, the reason why they have struggled the past few years is because they don't have that guy who steps up out of like the bunch, right? Like, because you're looking at Brazil, and Brazil has never been a nation short of talent, especially in attack, right? Like, all these talented players come together, make something happen, right? But I just think that just like club football, I know international football and club football are not the same, but just like club football, when you have a bunch of talented players playing together, especially attackers, like you need somebody that just stands out and just like, let's just say we go into this game or in a bind, everybody's having a poor game. Who out of this bunch, 4-3 attackers, is going to step up and be that guy that like, who is that like last is here? Like, I think about Brazil in 2002, for example, where they have the likes of Ronaldinho and whoever it is, R9 and everybody, right? And it's like, yes, we have all these talented players here and there, but at the end of the day, we know that R9 is here. At the end of the day, we know that R9 is going to bag the goals, is going to be the guy to step up. How many goals did he bag in that tournament? Like 10, he's got 2 in the final. 2014, Neymar was that guy where you have Neymar, you have Oscar, you have all these talented players, and it's like, at the end of the day, we're in the bind. At the end of the day, we're going into this game. Who can we depend on going into that game? And I think that the answer was obviously Neymar before he got injured. And we saw what happened after Neymar got injured. I think that the times that I've seen Brazil play their best football in recent games, in recent times, not in recent games, is when Vini steps up. So I think about the Copa America where Brazil had 4 games in the tournament before they got knocked out. The 3 games in the group stage and the one game in the knockout stages, right? And there was only one game where Brazil played good football, and guess what? It's the only game that Vini properly like played well. It was the game against Paraguay. The first game they struggled. Second game against Paraguay, Vini played well. The whole team played well. The next game, Vini they struggled. Vini kind of struggled, and the next game after that, Vini was not even there, and they got eliminated from the tournament, right? So I think that overall, like they actually need someone to step up. I think that has been the problem. That out of this bunch of players, they don't have somebody who just steps up. That being said, though, we're talking about Carlo Ancelotti, who likes fluidity, who likes like everybody like kind of doing their own thing until a goal comes about and everything. But at the same time as well, we're talking about a manager who, like I said, somebody always stands out of the bunch. Kaka in 2007, Ronaldo, whenever, obviously, Ronaldo is going to step up, right? But Carlo Ancelotti, as much as he gets the better out of all these attackers, somebody always steps up. Vini as well, who had a potential Ballon d'Or winning season. So at the end of the day, somebody might have to step up from the bunch that when they're in the bind, is like last, we have this guy in our team. And I think that player is Vinicius Junior.
yeah, I will say for all the love that this podcast does have for Vinicius Junior, he has 8 goals. He has 8 goals in 45 Brazilian appearances. So
No, it's long. It's
tough,
long,
it's
and
tough. No, it's
it's
tough, it's
it's
tough,
hard
it's
to
tough.
it's hard to depend on somebody like Vinny, which is now where the fluidity and the whole like everybody's going to do that thing at the end of the day comes in, right? So that's my problem with depending on one player is that when that player doesn't perform, it's like what do you do? But also like I just think international tournaments, man, like it's about moments, about who steps up in these big moments. Bill in the Euros, Shakiri for Switzerland, or is it wherever? Like, it's about who steps up for these. Like, I don't want to say underdogs, but like these guys that like kind of struggle. These guys like, you get what I mean? Like, it's about those type of
Yeah,
moments, right? And I think that international tournaments, especially like we're talking about 6 games, like you said, who can produce moments in these 6, 7 games, right? And we're talking about Vinny, who is a big game player. he has the most goal involvements in the Champions League out of any in the last 5 years. Has like how many Champions League final goals? Like we know that he has big moments in him. Doesn't have that many goals for Brazil, but we know he has moments in him. And I think that those moments could really count in this Brazil national team. I know that he hasn't shown it, but if they had to rely on somebody out of this starting lineup right now, I don't see it being Richarlison, I don't see it being Kone, I don't see it being Rafinha, I see it being Vinny, but Vinny has to step up in his own sense.
I will say though that one of the benefits of having a team that's as talented and as stacked as this one is that of course like the expectations are always going to be what they are with the Brazilian national team. But one of the benefits you also do get for having a team this loaded is that you worry less about having players to quote unquote stand up, stand out, stand up. I still do agree with your more or less point that like this is a team that has at times been desperate for players to kind of be there when the moment is necessary for them. Um, but like yeah, I do think a lot. I still do maintain that I think that's the concern that is more so very prevalent for teams that are not nearly as talented as Brazil.
Mm,
Um, to use our own country for example with Nigeria, where Nigeria's hopes on any given basis appears to be whether Victor Osimhen feels like a good player that day or not.
facts.
And and I love Osimhen and I love the Nigerian national team. It's one of the few times I'm very, very patriotic about Nigeria in general. Not to stray completely off the topic. But I think these are far more apparent in teams where the quality gap between the best player and the next best player is far more prevalent. Now, that not that to say is that not that to say is that Vinicius Junior is not a talented player. I just think that whoever the next best player after him is, whether it be Rafinha or Cunha or whoever it is,
It's
and
not that
of course
far.
outside of it's not that far. It's nearly not that far. So I think there will be a few growing pains as Brazilian national team always seems to have, but I think they are well set up here to be very good. And this area of the pitch would be the least of my concerns for them. Like I think there's real issues in like defense, for example, where like I think being able to cobble together like four fullbacks is going to be kind of difficult
Mm,
for them. At least four fullbacks where you feel like you're not there's no you don't have Marcelo anymore, for
mm.
example. You don't have I don't think there's a Marcelo level fullback at Brazil
The
anymore,
fullbacks are
obviously.
really struggling compared to what they
Yeah,
had before, like Marcelo,
yeah,
Alexandro, Daniel Alves. These
exactly.
are top class fullbacks, and looking at
Exactly.
what they have right now. But I
Yeah.
guess that's not what this episode is about, so we can't go
Of
too in
course.
depth in that. But
Sure. Sure.
yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot in this episode. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed the conversation. Let us know your opinion about everything that I've talked about in the comments. Who do you think should make the plane? The 8 players that you think should make the plane? Do you agree with me on this list, or do you have another opinion? What do you think Brazil's best formation is, and who should be those starters in that best formation? Is Carlo Ancelotti the man to get the best out of the Brazil national team? So many things we talked about in this episode. So many questions to answer. Let us know all of that in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Even if you didn't enjoy it, like just do it for us and just do it for the sake of it, and follow us on social media. I'm going to leave the links in the description. But with that comes the end of this episode. Daye, this has been fun. Except for the
It's been really
Edric
fun.
Esteval debate. This has been fun.
No, that was the best part. That was
That
the best
was
part
actually
because I
the
was
best
right.
part.
Because I was
Uh
right. Yeah.
Debatable,
No, no debate.
but Daye,
None.
we are going to bring this episode to a close, and I'm tired of you. I actually doesn't want to see your face anymore, so I want to see you guys' faces again, so please join us in the next episode. Make sure to subscribe so you're notified when the episode comes out. And yeah, see you guys again next time. Safe.